Story 1. Transfer a few $100 million to an anonymous bank account I will be able to access the next day. Story 2. Taking pictures of myself doing incriminating things so I can blackmail them once the Freaky Friday magic wears off. Story 3. First, I am paying off every debt my family and friends have. Then, I am setting up some incredible charitable funds to keep giving back long after I am gone. Imagine waking up the next day knowing you changed countless lives in just 24 hours. What would you do? Story 4. Are we rich or do we just have their body and are living our normal life? Story 5. Go pee. It doesn't matter whose body I am in. The bladder cannot be ignored. Story 6. Use all my savings to buy stocks in some random companies, then use my influence as a very wealthy person to increase the stock prices. Untraceable. Story 7. 20 hours of billionaire indulgence, drugs unknown to us on islands unknown to us, massive parties on yachts and more. Then, in the last 4 hours, I would find places to donate all the money. If I could time it well enough, I would jump off a building just before the effects wear off. Story 8. Buy as much medical debt as I possibly can and forgive it all very publicly. Story 9. Donate it all to good causes because why would you ever need $100 billion? It is incredibly difficult to spend $1 billion if you are not buying entire companies or city blocks, let alone 100 times that amount. Story 10. Quit my job at Tesla and admit that I am a huge jerk. Story 11. For one day? Well, I am wiring $250,000 to myself out of goodwill. Story 12. 1. Liquidate all assets and donate the money to several charities, including those supporting world hunger, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning, intersex and asexual rights and reproductive rights. 2. Provide citizens of totalitarian countries with the means to overthrow their corrupt governments. 3. End my own life. If I do not return to my own body, that is acceptable. I will make this sacrifice for the team. Story 13. Sell Twitter and Tesla to the highest bidder. Then call Donald Trump and tell him he is a loser. Story 14. Probably would try to transfer as much cash as possible to as many different random people's accounts as possible. Even if it is everyone and everyone only gets $5. Story 15. Transferring half of their liquid assets into my old identity's account, just in case the situation is not permanent. Not even half of their net worth, just half of what they can spend quickly. Even that amount would change my life if this gets reversed. Okay, after that, let's look in the garage. Sometime between test driving my toys, I would check my phone for a pilot contact and gas up the jet. Story 16. Depositing a reasonable amount of money in an offshore account for myself. Story 17. I would probably start by questioning my own sanity and existence, then slide into a full-blown panic attack. Story 18. Sending myself some money, not all of it. Maybe $10 million is enough. Story 19. Withdraw $1 million in cash and hide it somewhere for me to find once I return to my body. Story 20. The very last thing I am doing at 11:59 and 58 seconds is jumping off a very tall building. Story 21. First, I will clear out the bank account and get cash. I will start giving it out. I will start sending money to all my friends and even coworkers with large sums. I will clear out their entire stocks. Everything is getting sold. Who cares about losses? It is not my money. I am donating it all to charity and people in need. I will take a portion of it and set up foundations that will help the poor. Then, after all this, I will find a quiet rooftop on a very tall building and see if being the richest person alive has given me the ability to fly. I assume it will not. Story 22. Give all the money to humanitarian efforts and I am serious. Story 23. Buying all the video games. Finally, unlimited funds for gaming. Story 24. Pay off all my friends' debts, transfer the remaining money to my account, then jump off the nearest tall building at the last second so we will swap back mid-fall. Story 25. Pay off all of my family's debt and provide for all of their future needs that I can pay up front. Story 26. Immediately distribute all their wealth equally among as many people as possible. Then restructure all their companies to have labor unions and improve benefits, requiring any structural changes to be approved by the union. I will ensure this person does not have more power than the poorest individual on the street, as it should be. Story 27. Change the name back to Twitter and sell it to someone else. Story 28. I am draining the accounts. A few million to me, but absolutely everything else, every cent, to whatever foundations I can wire to directly. I will auction off all property and assets to the lowest bidders. I will try to incur some overdraft fees and credit dives too. Tomorrow they will wake up in the position I do every day. Story 29. Giving away all their money before they wake up in their own body tomorrow. Story 30. Disregard my shareholders and many charitable donations. Story 31. Donate every cent except 20 million to charity. Sell everything and give the money to charities. Story 32. Start changing country laws to negatively impact the wealthy, which could ironically lead to their conviction for bribery. Story 33. Make a gift donation to my real self for 1 million, then take the million and invest once I am myself again. Story 34. I would sell off SpaceX and anything that Elon owns and donate it all to charity, so when I wake up the next day back in my own body, Elon is broke and I feel better. Story 35. Buy a few tons of gold and bury it somewhere no one but I will find it. Story 36. Call the human resources department of the large company I most likely control. Have them hire me for a simple work-from-home job with a generous salary under a multi-year contract, including a substantial sign-on bonus and an even larger golden parachute in case of termination. Do not forget the generous stock options. Easy peasy. Story 37. Write my real self a very large check and deposit it right away in my real account. Then, leave on a day-long spa trip. Story 38. Apologize for everything and donate all his money to various lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer charities so he can be very upset the next day. Story 39. This sounds like a joke, but it is real. A police officer was interviewed recently about the recent car thefts in San Francisco and other places. He said a great anti-theft device nowadays is having a manual transmission car. The number of people who know how to drive them is small compared to earlier times. He showed some videos by homeowners where someone got into the car, even hotwired the ignition, but had no idea how to put it in gear. The videos showed the thief having to get out of the car and walk away. It was very amusing. Story 40. Transfer all my new assets to my old self. Enjoy all the new wealth I will have in 24 hours. Story 41. I would likely extend my normal self a very, very lucrative consulting job offer, with an early termination clause making it payable in full, for work that my normal self will have no issues doing over a few months. In this way, I steal nothing, do the work offered to me, and do not have to worry about it again, while also making enough to never have to work again in my life, $2 to $3 million. This also raises very few, if any, red flags. Now, the flip side, get the lawyers and find out how I can force my billionaire self to donate large amounts in a binding way that cannot be undone the next day. Story 42. Giving it all away. First, broken promises. Fix Flint's water and give the United Nations $6 billion to end hunger. Then, my favorite charities have Christmas. Then, I pick random people around the world and give them $1 million. Story 43. I would sell everything I own at a huge discount, and then I would give away every penny. It will only be mine for a day anyway. Story 44. Transfer a few $100 million to an anonymous bank account. I will be able to use it the next day. Story 45. Donating money to various medical research organizations and purchasing all the collector dolls I want to be shipped to my original body's address. Story 46. Purchase a large quantity of gold and store it in my garage at home, then produce methamphetamine and heroin. Story 47. Cancel all appointments except for lawyers and bankers. Transfer $1 billion to my other real self. Hire the wealthiest lawyer's biggest competitor to represent my other real self. Then spend the rest of the day researching how to manage vast wealth. Story 48. I do not know about you, but I am getting all the drugs I can get. Story 49. I'm sorry that you're feeling this way. It might help to talk to someone you trust or a mental health professional. You're not alone. Story 50. Step down as Chief Executive Officer of Tesla and distribute 99% of my shares to employees based on seniority. Convert Twitter into a nonprofit organization. Donate all but about $10 million to the Gates Foundation. Apologize to my daughter and announce my retirement from the public spotlight. Story 51. Simply sign over the entire fortune to me to take as much time as I need to figure out how to best utilize this greatly acquired wealth. Story 52. Write a large check to myself for 2/3 of a wealthy person's wealth. The next day, regular me goes to work donating, investing, saving, and helping. Story 53. I probably do a lot of public donations and, at the last hour of the day, transfer a good amount to my actual account so I have money for myself afterward, and it cannot be transferred back, assuming it is a body switch and not possession. Story 54. Transfer more than I need to my own bank account. Donate to worthy causes. Use his money to invest under my name. Story 55. Transfer as much money as I can into my accounts, write myself large checks, pay as much medical debt, rent, mortgages, and utility bills of my relatives, friends, and strangers as possible. Whatever is left, donate to food banks. Story 56. Buy all of the medical debt in America and pay it off. Give massive donations to cancer research and cancer hospitals. Only those properly vetted to use their resources to fund research, not to line the pockets of board members. I would establish large scholarship funds and create a fund to cover school lunches nationwide forever. Story 57. Turn around and do a horizontal dance with a supermodel. Story 58. Start a GoFundMe for my real self and donate millions of dollars to it. When I come back, I can just take it, and I will not be under suspicion of money laundering because it leads back to a completely legal way of obtaining the money. Story 59. Create a fund to ensure every child in every town has money for 3 meals a day. Then create a fund for every child who wants to receive $100,000 a year from ages 18 to 24. Then cover every medical bill. Then create a group to pay for lawyers to review every death row case to ensure it is justified. Then allocate the remainder of donations to Native American funds for food, shelter, education, and medicine. Finally, with the remaining $5.68, buy a coffee. Story 60. Send me the original amount of $50 million and hope I will switch back in a couple of days. Story 61. E-transfer myself a few $1,000,000. Not enough to be noticed typically, but enough to improve my life for good. Story 62. Transfer a large amount of money to my personal accounts. By a large amount, I mean a sum that an ultra-billionaire would never even notice missing but would change my life forever, such as $100 million. Story 63. Putting a lot of money into my other body's checking account. Story 64. Liquidate several $1 billion. Then gift it in small $10 million batches to random people as a funny TikTok stunt. One of those random people would, of course, be me. Story 65. Am I Elon Musk? Reach for the nearest pistol and put one through my temple for the good of all mankind. Story 66. Elon Musk. Punch myself in the groin for 24 hours straight. Story 67. I would mail a cashier's check for a cool 5 or 10 million. Story 68. Send money to my account so that when I return to my body I am set up. Story 69. Transfer a decent amount of money to worthwhile charities. I would make a transfer for myself, but otherwise aim to help as many people in need as possible. Story 70. Wire and transfer money into my actual bank account from there so tomorrow I am still rich. Story 71. I would set up a series of large charitable donations and investments in long-term global sustainability projects. Story 72. Give a big donation to every soup kitchen and free food pantry in America. I hate that people are going hungry in this country while wealthy individuals are building rocket ships for their own amusement. Story 73. Free healthcare. No child goes hungry. Assault rifles are going to be less of a problem because when someone turns one in, they will receive a lot of money. No more will be produced unless they are for the army or the military. Every child receives a good education and has a safe place to live. Story 74. Time is essential here. 24 hours is a short time. Let's talk about securing money. Sending money electronically is too risky, easily traceable, and likely to be reversed the next day. You send as many people as you can to as many banks or treasuries locally as your usual self and withdraw as much cash as possible. Next is gold, bullion, or jewelry, no stones. Stones of value are usually serialized on a microscopic level. All items are placed in bins that you can find at hardware stores. Unbranded and generic. The hardest part depends on your morality. Morally gray or those with no inherent positive value to life act blindly. You have the worst person on your team take it to a location only you would know, somewhere you can access and move the items quickly. The key is for them to use an older car that has no GPS and carry no electronics at all to the location, not even a phone. Less urban, fewer cameras, and less technology around is better. Stash in the woods if you know a good place. The place should not be close to your home but reachable within an hour of when you return. Before your person is back, implement a thorough data scrub while also spending money wildly in various ways. You want to spread the focus as wide and thin as possible so the local money becomes insignificant. When your person comes back, kill them. Make sure they are dead. Take their phone and microwave or burn it as well, just in case. If you want to secure it more, you have to kill more people down the chain of information. Wake up back to you and move immediately. There are many nuances not included because this is a summary, but that is how others have stashed money before in a short amount of time. Story 75. Apologizing to the world for Elon Musk's behavior and promising publicly to donate his wealth to charities. Signing away his fortune. Story 76. Put everything on red for the highest stakes gamble ever. If it lands, give it all away to everyone who is not a convicted felon. Story 77. Hire the best assassin in the world to eliminate me tomorrow, then celebrate extensively. Story 78. Spending time in a room full of the world's most exclusive high-end escorts. Story 79. Transfer all funds into a hidden account. Use that for good. Strengthen democracies, pass a wealth tax on people like this person, fund green technology, and help everyone switch to a low-carbon future. Story 80. Calling it Twitter again and then being quiet for a while. Story 81. Giving Twitter back and unionizing all my factories. Also, getting some therapy to help me be a better father and human being. Story 82. Summon the most evil individuals protected by their substantial but lesser wealth to my chateau for a cup of rice and lace tea. I would drink it merrily alongside them while promising them the world. Story 83. Transfer a few $1,000,000 to myself and then jump out of a sufficiently high window near the end of my life so that the wealthiest person takes over their body upon impact. Story 84. Transferring significant wealth to a numbered account in Switzerland and then sending the details to myself. Story 85. Posting a bunch of unnecessary questions on Reddit, especially things that should be statements but are phrased as questions to invite engagement. Story 86. Literate tan elastic party square reminiscent familiar chase rainstorm abounding. Story 87. Call it Twitter again. Delete the account. Make a new offshore account for me to transfer their wealth and liquid assets so they cannot be traced back to me. Then, after I switch back, I would move to a nice place to live and quietly thrive. Story 88. I immediately end world hunger and homelessness. Then I buy a large custom-made airship and live my life gently floating around. Story 89. Donate. Wealthy individuals can be perfectly fine with significantly less. Story 90. First, I would find something to write with and then write down my contact details. I would say, hey, I'm Ash and could really use some money. I swapped bodies with you somehow and hope to hear from you. Then I would go and enjoy their presumably lavish home. There is not much else to do, so I would take the day off and relax on their couch with whatever desserts they have stocked. Maybe I would do a 2-hour leg workout just to mess with them. Story 91. Play a tune from the Red Hot Chili Peppers and then follow suit. Give it away. Give it away. Give it away now. Story 92. Donate a large amount of money to several good causes, especially those that help the homeless, sick, and animals. Give all my employees a fair, livable wage, or at least a good bonus in case temporary issues prevent permanent raises. For myself, I would pay off my debt and the debt of my family members, and organize a large gathering with high-end escorts. Story 93. Who is the richest person alive? Not that it would matter if I still had my memories and they are mobile, because my family and I would be getting rich, baby. Story 94. Giving as much liquid money away as possible in donations to various charities, then a handful of random strangers. Then, I would arrange a same-day trip for a wellness survival journey to the middle of a South American rainforest, bury all the supplies, and destroy the satellite phone and tracking devices I would have undoubtedly been given. After that, I would just go exploring in the rainforest. I would have done something great for the world with countless donations, something great for my family and some strangers, and an even better thing for the world by arranging for a certain someone to literally get lost. Story 95. I am assuming they have a large vault like Scrooge McDuck, so they probably go for a swim in the piles of cash. Story 96. Give my original body loads of money. Then try to figure out the best ways to donate 99% of the rest of the money to the most deserving people and charities around the world. Story 97. Spend my entire life earnings on Toblerones and refuse to elaborate. Story 98. Donate everything to poor people and similar causes, except for enough for me to send to my girlfriend or parents. Also, if it is Jeff Bezos, change many of the policies Amazon has for their workers, or for Tesla if it is Elon Musk. Story 99. Buying a large amount of digital currency, like billions, and putting the keys to the wallet where I can find them when I am myself again tomorrow. After that, I am going to find my wife, and after I get her to believe me, we will have the best day of our lives. Story 100. Giving it all away because I am sleeping in or have work to do. I do not have time to spend it, so others should benefit. Story 101. I probably have to urinate and observe what kind of water this person is drinking. Story 102. The problem is they most likely would not have billions in cash. I would transfer everything I could to a new account. Then, over the next few months, I would walk around looking for people in need and give them money. Story 103. I guess the first thing I would do is start to panic in the worst way possible. Then, when I realized I was totally rich and perhaps did not realize that I only had one day, I would probably become very reckless, only to lose it all during some foolish outburst. Because without limits, we are all probably reckless. Or, better yet, I would realize I only had one day and discover that this person would only notice the absence of time anyway. So I would start to casually withdraw money, and then, when I have enough, get as close as I can to where I live within a day. Then I would find a way to stash it. Hopefully, all within 24 hours. I would only take a few thousand, most likely. I do not think a billionaire can just walk in and ask for a suitcase full of $100 bills. But if I can get the person back to their bed in time, then they would just wonder what happened. I guess covering up the bank withdrawal from myself would be the tricky part. Hopefully, this person has a questionable history, though I would not be able to discern that myself, at least not in the time given. If I could invent a situation like in the movie Memento to fool him into thinking he had gone on a bender and wasted the money himself, that is how I would do it. Story 104. They are not going to be the richest person for long. It is time for some serious, irreversible wealth redistribution. I know many people would benefit from extra money, so I would make a point to help as many as I can. Story 105. If I am rich, then I do not have to slave away at my minimum wage job anymore. I am going back to sleep. Story 106. Give away all my money, stock, possessions, and resign from all the boards of companies I am involved with. Bonus points if all of the funds and assets go to things that Elon Musk dislikes. Story 107. Set up a fundraiser for myself, then donate a large sum of money to my account and several other people. Story 108. Most of us do not know what to do. They just know they want a large bank balance. Story 109. Donate money to the poor, but make a public statement about it, saying all very wealthy people should do the same, and shame those who do not. Try to get as much publicity as possible. Effectively, ruin this person's reputation overnight while doing good. Then donate some to me and my family. Leave enough in this person's account for them to live well and comfortably for the rest of their life. Hopefully, even if only a little, the publicity will encourage some wealthy people to donate to the poor, even if motivated by their own gain and good publicity. Story 110. Act like a childish, edgy person who has no friends. That way no one will know the difference. Story 111. Give it all away, every bit. Then mortgage everything to the maximum and give that away. Then max out every credit card to charity. Story 112. Donate $1 million to struggling families and redistribute wealth so that more people can be financially secure and not have to worry about a hospital bill making them homeless. Story 113. Spend it all on the farming industry and start a real estate business, then give all those farms and the business to my original self. Story 114. Figure out who is occupying my body at the moment. Is it still me, or did Elon Musk or someone else take my place? Story 115. Take all of his money and transfer it into my bank account. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.